Oh, we got quite a fire. Dan here, TD Speed Shop. It's only been a couple or 3 days since the last video you guys seen, but it's been well over a week for me. Hopefully I can remember how to do this. Me and Danny on a little vacation. We actually ended up going down south to Tennessee for about a week. And man, it was a blast. The weather was good. Hung out with a bunch of cool people, good friends. Saw Uncle Tony, Vice Grip, and my buddy Mike Cotton actually came and visited us for a little bit. So it was awesome. Awesome down there. And avoiding snow for 7 whole days. What a concept. In March. I love it. Anyway, man, the last time... Oh, Danny had a good time down there too. Coyote Ugly really, it got to her. Anyway, last time we worked on this thing, man, you guys were a little rough in the comments there as I'm on my vacation about how I'm a bumbling idiot and can't get a small block Chevy in 57. I mean, these things happen. Anyway, so if you missed a few videos or if you're just kind of getting back with it, this is a 57 Chevy 4-door, 2-door conversion, which I did a couple of years ago. I built it and gave it to Danny for her birthday at some point. It was a complete running, driving car, tagged, plated. She was putting miles on it, all those things. And then I needed a couple parts, and the fully driving car turned into a parts car, which was then left for dead for about a year. Anyways, I promised to get it back together, and now, well, it's getting there. I mean, she's a car again. So in the last few videos, we put a motor and trans in it. Questionable, but it should be fine. We shined up the paint, put wheels and tires on, a few little things like that. Anyways, we have to get down to kind of meat and potatoes of this thing and make it so it will run and drive again. So the motor's just sitting in there. I did test fire it in a previous video, so it ran for 15 seconds, so I'm sure that's fine. So now what we're gonna do is, well, as I recall, one of the parts I stole was the entire fuel system of this thing. So while I was gone, Rock Auto showed up with all sorts of good stuff. So we got a new sender, what else did I get? All this stuff needed for it. Oh, straps. I bought a brand new tank. I told Danny whatever I couldn't find used by the time it was time to work on this thing, I'll buy new. So I got a brand new tank for it. Little tech tip for you Tri-5 guys. 57 tanks. I believe they're all the same, but 57 tanks have a drain in it. Very handy. I don't think it costs much more. And honestly, gentle, even if it does, if you have to drain the fuel tank once, pay the extra few dollars. So we're going to do that. I believe there's still a factory fuel line in this thing. So we're going to get up on the rack and fuel tank, strap, sender, we'll build all that, we'll slap it in. It looks like there's still the filler neck, which is nice. Those are kind of unique. Each year Tri-5 its own thing. I might have one, but I don't have one obvious. So we're going to do that. Then I bought some stuff, some miscellaneous radiator hoses. Read on the internet, this is off a Ford Excursion. Apparently guys can use this for a Tri-5 Chevy small block with a radiator in the 6-cylinder position, which is what I've done, so hopefully that'll be good. New set of spark plugs, and I bought header wrap. I wanted to ceramic coat the headers white, but I didn't have capabilities of doing that, so we're going to wrap them. I know this stuff will ruin headers. It does hold moisture, but sometimes looking cool isn't always the smartest thing. It's kind of like smoking. You look cool, but it kills you. So when it rains and all that, that wrapping really holds the moisture. It is cool when you fire it up though, because the whole thing just steams away. And I think we're going to try and put some exhaust on it. I bought this U-bend. Now originally, sorry Danny if you're watching this, I was originally going to go with just kind of 2.5-inch plain Jane exhaust. She wanted it quiet, which is fine, but the parts bill was coming in and I was like, she's getting pricey. In the car there's actually 2 thrush mufflers, 3-inch. I have a 10-foot length of 3-inch pipe behind the shop. So all I needed to buy was one piece, and we have a full exhaust system. So I'm saving money, we're going green, and that's what we're doing. 3-inch exhaust through a set of thrush mufflers, so maybe a little louder than she wants. But you know what? You can't win every single time. So we're gonna get that going. There's lots of stuff to be done. I do have a wiring harness. I don't know if I'll put that in or not in general, but sure won't be tonight. Under the hood, we got to plumb it all properly. There's lots to do. So I guess let's take the first bite of this elephant and put the fuel tank in. Good times. Yeah, I'll get her up in the air. I'm losing my mind. All right, so we got the old girl up in the air. Using a header box. as a stand. I love these Tri-5s. They're just so simple. But so we got the tank ready to go. This is the sender. There's a couple different options. You got to watch what you want. This is like the L basic one, which I think just has a 5/16 fuel line. So factory Tri-5s actually use like an inverted flare style thing, which I'm sure I've long since cut off underneath the car. So we'll zip that off the grinder before there's fuel in it. We'll just run a rubber hose across. Now, later stuff had those like locking rings. Tri-5s just have a little gasket and some screws. So we're gonna put that in there. Now, I don't know if this will go. I don't know if these are drilled offset or anything, but just make sure you have it in correctly. So the tank is obviously backwards, but this is the way we want it. You have your little float. I guess you could put it in that way maybe, which would be wrong in a multitude of ways, but hey, we all make mistakes, right? So feed in your float and a little pickup. Twist and move any way you got to, and bam, we're in. So we'll put some screws in there and it's all dialed. Now, this kit actually came with a couple of extra little O-rings and then the O-ring for the filler as well. Always nice to put those somewhere you're gonna lose, so when you really need them, you can't find them. It's a super big hassle. Oh yeah, you know what? This O-ring is offset, so these holes obviously only fit one way. Smart Chevy. So I'll struggle with this a little bit, and then next you'll see we'll wrap straps around it. We'll put it in the car. Boom, just like that. That's how you spend like 400 bucks. So brand new tank, brand new sender, new straps. I didn't come with any rubbers, which you want to rubber above the tank to the car and from the strap to the tank. So I had an old tire inner tube, like a bike tube. So I just put on there. I used a little tape for the weather strip to kind of the adhesive to set, but that's all dialed and I hooked it up to the factory line. So pretty boring, very easy. I think what we'll do next is pull the front wheels and pull the headers out. We'll wrap those. Then we can put the headers on with the gaskets. I don't know if I have any super thicks. I just have to use the stockers. Those never last. I should buy some. Damn it, I forgot at the parts store. Do that. And then, well, whatever. You know, we'll put on, we can change gaskets at any time. Small block Chevy headers are such a nightmare to put the bolts in though, so whatever. I'll complain a little bit more. So we'll put the headers back, we'll wrap them, put them back on, then we can start running the exhaust. Then when that's all dialed, under the hood we gotta put starter on, well under the car, starter on, hook the fuel pump up, fuel line, run a few wires. I mean, this was a running driving car, so it should have some power all under the hood, which should make it pretty easy to fire up. But I really like to run this thing with the exhaust on it, just some sort of exhaust. We ran it a couple of videos ago. Open headers, and it didn't sound horrible, like it wasn't completely rod knocking or anything, but it's hard to hear with open exhaust. So, tires off, we can pull the headers right out, very easy. I don't think I'm gonna wrap the entire header. I think I'm just gonna do kind of under the hood to where it goes to about where the wheel well is. It's super dark, you can't see what I was pointing at, but you'll have to trust me. And we'll kind of go from there. So under the hood it'll look cool, but then from the side, you'll have just a little bit of exhaust. I mean, it's gonna get beat up anyways, so we'll see. I think only about 50 foot of the wrap anyways, so I don't think that's enough to do both, and that's what I'm doing. So let's get these headers off. All right, as always, working a nice clean environment. I wrapped the first two pipes just to kind of get started. This one, I actually didn't even clamp the end side. So what we're gonna do is you wrap it around and you end up using these, which are kind of like a metal kind of cable tie. They go through, you tighten up. So I'll show you how to do the center pipes here. Now, I want to kind of start them just, well, I do. Just take this with a grain of salt. I start a little bit back because if you go right up to the top, it's a pain to get the header bolts in, which are already a freaking nightmare. So you kind of, first lap, you want to kind of, or first wrap around, you want to kind of overlap a little bit. Now, guys will do all sorts of things. They'll soak these with water, they'll screw around, do all that. We're posers, so none of that really matters. Get this in. Oh, caught on the camera. Man, you guys are always in the way. Okay, so we'll get that, has enough kind of tension to hold itself. Just go ahead and clamp on these brand new headers. So now I'll take our clamp. Now I typically do these kind of downwards or something like that, so they're the way, but we'll go clamp up. So these things are pain if you don't know what you're doing. So I don't know what I'm doing, by the way. Well, you can, okay. So you pull them kind of tight by hand, but they're still very floppy. We're going to take a pair of side cutters. We'll snip off the tail. You take your favorite pair of Forgotten About Neil nose, and you grab the tail, and you'll want to curve it under, and that'll just kind of tighten it. So grab it and twist it under, I guess, maybe the thing. So give it a little one of these. Kind of like you're tightening baling wire, you know, when you're holding up some exhaust. Do that. It'll give a nice little curl, and then there you go. That ain't going nowhere. So now what we're going to do, in fast motion, we'll go ahead and wrap this. Now this stuff, it recommends like a quarter or something like that, or a ½ inch wrap around. With the pipes going all goofy, they get all, it is what it is. Do the best you can. So I'm going to wrap these two until we get to about there. Then I'm just going to wrap the whole unit, and we'll go from there. I believe this is asbestos, so of course wear a mask and hold your breath. There we have it. She's hot rod looking. Unfortunately, this was just too short or too big for one cable tie, so I had to use two, which is a pain, but whatever. So now we got about a hand width or so that isn't done, but that should all be in the wheel well. If we go on this side, oh man, it's so dark. Yeah, it is. Now I've learned, I did the Nomad. I went the whole thing the whole way down, and it just throws junk at it. The wheels rub into it. It's not the plan. So this is what we're going to try on this side. It'll get the heat away from the motor, away from any of the heater box and everything, and the floorboard and everything is going to be right, you know, kind of back here. And then it'll all be exiting out, and this will get all beat up with road grime. Get the other side done, and we'll mount these permanent. All right, so we got the headers back on this hot rod. Look at that. They look all good, all wrapped. Anyways, just two bolts holding it in. I'm not a huge fan. You know, oh, the collector gaskets are, well, they're what you get. They're junk. I mean, they're fine, I'm sure, but I like the ones that are like, they're probably that thick for a single one. They're the old super thicks. I think they're Reflex or something like that. Anyways, they don't leak. They're really good, and I want to put them on there. Same with the collector gaskets. I like just running the thick gaskets. I find they last the best, and I hate the clack, 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 clack noise when they screw up. And pain in the ass to put headers on, so do it once and do it right. So I'm going to do that tomorrow, get some new gaskets. Anyways, we have these things on, and we have the collectors. So as you can see, they're kind of pointing, so we have to get a kind of a curve. It's actually, I bought a U. I probably could have used a 45, but this will look nice. And this side, same idea. So the plan is going to be, on this side anyway, oh, this is kind of awkward to do, but we have to change the direction. So if I put this something like that, and we cut the U kind of up and down wise, then it should go straight back. Now this is 3 inch up here, and it necks down to 2.5. So I'll zip cut that off right there, and then we'll put this up, we'll eyeball it, we'll get it kind of close. We'll have to shorten the end, and then, like I said, we'll have to kind of cut it at some sort of a pie shape, which will then hopefully be as straight as possible. Once we have that, then we can just take a piece of 3-inch pipe, they'll go straight back. We'll have the muffler right at the back, probably by the perch, the spring, the shackle there. We'll hang it there, and I'll do a exit out the side. I don't have any exit pieces, but that's easy add-on after the fact. I'd like to get it all dialed together and see if we can set the muffler up. I don't know how much we'll get done tonight. It's already like 11:30, and I'm getting pretty tired, but it'll have exhaust tomorrow, and hopefully it'll run. So here's the idea I've come up with. Originally Danny wanted a nice, quiet hot rod, so we'll see what happens. But we have the fender wells come out down into this U, which I have kind of corked over just a little bit to straighten it out. And then we run it pretty close, but I can still put my finger between the bodies, so that's good. Originally I run sleeves, but it's like midnight, so I'm not gonna find one of those right now. So I got a bit of a gap, but we'll just be able to weld that in, it'll be fine. Straight back, just below the rocker, into this thrush muffler, which is pretty sweet. This thing is gonna be wore out, nice and quiet. And then we'll have a dump and we'll just have it kind of 45 out. And I'll have to make a hanger off of this to something somewhere. And essentially that's the same exhaust I've done on multiple of my tri-pipes. If you have fender well exit, it's very simple. It'll be like one piece, so there'll be probably a pretty significant mount at the back. It probably won't be rubber isolated. It'll just be like a piece of steel that bolts in or does something like that. And that piece, and then we'll just take it off at the 3 bolts at the collector, and then the entire mess will come off in one shot. But realistically, I'm hoping with this one, if we have the all the good gaskets in there, we do it right so it's not rattling against anything, it should stay on for many years to come and look cool doing it. Ultimately, that's what Danielle wants. She wants a really cool car that I can drive all the time. But that's what I'm doing for a night. I'm kind of tired. I stopped welding a little while ago, and I don't want to starve again before I go to bed. So I won't sleep, so I'll be nervous the shop's going to burn to the ground. See you tomorrow. All right, so next morning, as I was lying in bed at 1 a.m. contemplating my life, it's now like 8 o'clock in the morning, I determined I got a lot to do, and I was gonna have this thing like, oh, running and driving was my plan, but man, there's so many things I need. Like, I don't even have oil for this thing. I thought I had everything I need, but I don't. So this video is now shifting gears, and it's gonna be a fuel system, because we've already done it, and exhaust video, which I also have to go out and get exhaust pieces, so I gotta go to like the parts store or two. And I got up real early this morning, because of course last night as I was in the bed on Facebook, oh my goodness, go ahead and make a mess here, I found some treasures. I just went out and met the guy. Set of bucket seats. I should have an MGB, but well, they identify as 57 Chevy seats, because this thing don't have no seats in it, and it's hard to drive with no seats. So I've got the fender stand out. It's so trashed in here, but I got to finish this thing. I got to get it so it can move under its own power, and or at least finish a video so I can edit one and put it out, because that's the problem. You're watching this today, and for me it's yesterday, so I got a lot of work to do. We'll pull this exhaust off. We'll solid weld it. I'm happy with it. The only thing I don't have is a hanger for the back. I don't have anything that I can really use. So we're gonna get them both sides welded 100%. So we'll just do all that in time lapse. And then I'll run to the parts store and get exhaust gaskets. So the headers will be 100%, the collectors will be 100%. We can then put the fuel pump on, have that go to the motor, and then that's dialed. Then in the next video, we can immediately start under hood wiring, plumbing, coolant, all that screw around, then fire it up. That's the plan. Then hopefully get the drive shaft in, make sure the transmission works. We got to run transmission lines. There's so much to do, but fortunately I have no life and very little standards, so it'll be fine. Let's start welding. Well, about an hour of welding later, we have both dialed. This side didn't go quite as well as the other. Now, the reason is the header drops further down on the passenger side for whichever reason. Is there something on the lens there? Man. Craft Services and the Director of Photography called in sick today. So the problem was, you can kind of see we're kind of jogged off a little bit. You can see how small we went immediately from the collector into the curve. We don't have a whole lot of room. Whereas on the driver's side, we have quite a bit more kind of curvature and down. So just kind of the way it is, not the end of the world. I mean, typically, the headers on a small block are like that anyways, like chassis headers. One side's kind of further back than the other, so it must be the same on these fender wells. I didn't do a whole lot of measuring. We're just kind of eyeballing it. So that's all dialed. Now, what I think I'm going to do, I got to go look, but we need to put some 45s, well, this would be 45 this way or something, some sort of dump out. So I'm going to go to the auto parts store, we'll do that. Then I got to figure out a way to attach this to the car. Now I'm fighting it out. Do I spend a bunch of time and make it so it's removable? Or do I just weld, you know, two hangers on either side from the muffler to the floor and go from there? Now, before anyone freaks out, I am going to solid mount these mufflers. You're like, that's crazy, Dan. The motor's solid mounted. It's all irrelevant. If the motor is solid mounted, to me, the mufflers can be dangling all you want, but it's going to be what it's going to be. I've done solid mount on my Nomad, on my 55. I think this car had it at one point. Just what I've done on these. You might want to put like a little rubber isolator, but it'll be fine. They'll rattle your teeth out anyways, no big deal. This nice, quiet Sunday morning going to church hot rod. So I have a list of stuff I'm going to go out and get. Hopefully I'll be back soon. I'd really like to have this all done before noon. And then I can start editing a video and maybe back out tonight to start working on making it run. But exhaust on, it'll look wicked. And we got to test fit those seats, at least sit them in there, right? So I'll be back shortly. So we're down on the ground-ish. I ran out and got a few things. Look how cool this is going to look. This is the look I'm going for. Instead, everything we bolt on makes it that much cooler. Now these are the gaskets I went out and got. So I'm obsessed with these super thicks. Where did I put? Damn it, I had two for comparison. And I lost it. Just like I'm losing my mind. Anyways, these are literally twice as thick as a stalker. Now I already have the header gasket in. These are obviously collectors. We'll do that once it's up in the air. Now, header gaskets, here's a couple of tech tips. One, make sure you get the ones that have the little jut out on both. That way you can put them in kind of either way you want. You don't got to screw around with it. That will be for your like water temp or like if you're going to plug it. I also love the ones that have ears on the end. You can get them to have, you know, just holes the whole way through. But this way we can do is take all the bolts out except for the end and you loosen them. Then you can sneak it in there and then it kind of goes from there. Now on these small block Chevys, here's the deal. Big block Chevys are awesome in every possible way other than they're huge. So big block Chevy, headers go on easy and all that. Small block Chevys, headers are a freaking nightmare. So you got to start every bolt, get every bolt started, and then torque them down. And then you can also decide what kind of hardware you want to buy. They have all sorts of different ones. Essentially it's a 3/8 bolt, like 3/8 threads. And the head typically would be a 9/16 wrench. But they have 7/16. I get these ones that are 3/8, very tiny, and they also have like Allen head ones. So pick accordingly, but it does get snug. So we're armed up with tools. Let's battle this in. This one's going to be a nightmare. I should have shown you on that side because it was way easier. This one has someone decided to put power brakes in this thing, so they're a nice guy, but that makes it tight to get in there. So probably have to get started and then actually lift it up and tighten them through the wheel well. Fun. Okay, so I have loosened the header. You can see she's kind of loose now. The problem is this one is sitting on the dipstick, which I didn't realize till right this second. And when you loosen it, it sits on the steering box. So in this case, you know what? We're gonna take the valve cover off. Can we get the valve cover off? We must. Yeah. Just it gets a straight shot. The valve cover will overhang the cylinder head a little bit. So you kind of have to sneak it in, which isn't the end of the world, but I like to keep these as flat as I possibly can when you're installing them. So I'll do that. Give her a little wiggle. That one went in. A little wiggle. A little wiggle. I guess, what the heck? Oh, back bolt might be a little on the snug side, which is a pain to get to. Awesome. I'll be right back. Just gotta crawl under here. Oh. You know, everybody should have a lift. That way you get to work on cars on the ground. Like nothing ever changed. What is going on? Oh. Oh, she's wiggling. There she goes. Go in your home. Better gasket. Nailed it. Perfect. Okay. Oh, this wasn't too bad. Oh. Oh, I'll let it that out. So now, start putting your bolts in. Now, the reason small block Chevys are so terrible, because you have your pipes are, you know, front and back are separated, and the center two are kind of Siamese. So the outside pipes have to really curve in. Well, as they curve in, the outside bolt's easy to get. The inside bolt is on the curvature. So that's where you're wrenching it, quarter turn at a time. Centers usually aren't too bad, and the outside usually aren't too bad, other than at the back, you got to reach down in an awkward position. So, get these all started. You know, it's like installing by braille here. That one's not happening. So now when it's not going in, the trick is, oh, I'll show my ass crack. Hang on. You got to get in there and give it a little wiggle. A little wiggle. That didn't work. Go lefty. A little wiggle. There you go. Okay, I think that's how it started. Give her a wrench turn. Give her a little, power brakes. You know, the conveniences of these new cars is handy, but man, we're gonna lay across the car on this one. Man, these things are nice. Okay, gentle. Okay, these headers are actually pretty good. They came, how am I getting my hand in there? They came pre-dimpled for the header bolt to go in. It's like they've built these forever. These were Patriots, I think. Whatever they were, I paid up for them. Get started. Come on. Man, okay. Well, I'm going to struggle with this for a while. Come on. And then when we come back, we'll hang the exhaust. Okay. We'll hang the exhaust and we'll be right back. Okay, so we got the exhaust hung passenger side. Now, got nice super thick gaskets on, everything is good. I don't know, I didn't show it very well, but I did clearance the wheel well just a little bit to have it tucked up as much as we can. Right here, there's a body brace that goes across with a motor mount. So you are limited. That's pretty cool. You know, I was thinking, I was looking at this. We have inside there all kind of wrapped. If we just paint this section, like even just like two sides with white to about there, and then that like ceramic coats itself, it might look kind of cool. Now around back, I took one of these rod hangers, which is not really meant for this specific situation, but it did work out just great for me. So you can see that. I just welded it to a floor brace. So the idea of these is actually you hang one and they're supposed to have like a rubber isolator to go between. It's like more of a modern thing. I'll show you the other side. This exhaust, it should be pretty sturdy. It actually held itself almost perfectly flat just off the collector, even with all that leverage all the way out here. This is just kind of for show. I might tie in from the perch to that just to kind of triangulate it. And then I'm using a 3-inch clamp we'll wrap around. Again, the idea of a 3-inch clamp will actually clamp the muffler to the tailpipe. So we won't be able to do that because of the way this hanger is, but it should be fine. So we need like a 45 or a 90 or something that we could dump out. But again, the parts didn't have anything today, so that's a bit of a hassle, but what are you gonna do? It'll have mufflers for now, it'll be a little droney, but you know, we're going for supreme sound here. Yeah, that's it. I mean, a very simple, effective, and awesome looking exhaust. I just love fender well headers and side pipes. And I mean, you know, it hangs down a little bit, but it's just barely, I mean, that's the bottom of the frame, so we're maybe a finger and a half below. This will get you more clearance as far as I'm concerned than any sort of chassis header. They always hang extremely low. So we should be golden on that one. Oh look, I got the old exhaust stuff. I can cut that off maybe. I'll get the other side. I'm gonna hang the other side. I'll show you just exactly how it wants to hang itself right there. So two points will be just fine for this exhaust setup. And it'll come off real easy for servicing when the motor explodes on the first test drive. Okay, so here's our pipe. I over recessed it on the side just a smidge, but should be good now. As you can see, nothing's hanging at the back there, and that's kind of where it wants to be, just naturally holding itself down. So we'll kind of, you know, give her one of those. I don't know what we did on the other side. Well, it's really 2 fingers I said, right? So we'll match it probably just so the outlet is going to be right about level with the bottom of the perfectly sculpted rocker, and choop choop out, and we're done. So I'll go ahead and start bending up my little piece and weld it, and we should be dialed on that. Put the front wheels, and I think I'd like to toss the seats in just to see kind of how they're going to fit. I said those seats are out of an MG, but seats are seats as far as I'm concerned, right? Oh man, my hair is right in the lens. But yeah, that's the plan. Dialed, let's see what this thing looks like all said and done. Man, we got a lot taken care of today. You know, you always want to make sure you know what you're welding above. Otherwise, whoops. Oh, we got quite a fire. Woo-hoo. It's fine. Damn it. All right, fire extinguisher it is. Like I said, you really want to be aware of your surroundings. Also, this is quite hot. But, yeah. Well, let's go ahead and put that back. I don't even think Danielle will notice. Oh, maybe a little water on there. Yeah, Dr. Pepper will put it out. Yikes. All right, well, it matches the front seats. Okay, so I was going to finish plumbing the fuel pump and all that, but we're going to save that for the next video. We're going to end this video with a little game I like to call Will Danielle Notice? So we're going to do a quick tour, and Will Danielle Notice?
I was just wondering why you didn't have your road mic on.
Oh yeah, this is a good one. So, we got the exhaust back on, so it looks all good. So I wrapped it, comes out, we got our downpipe, everything worked out great there. Go back, mufflers, I'm missing tailpipe, so we gotta get on that. Now under here, we've got a brand new fuel system, right? So we showed that at the beginning of the video. We have a new tank, new straps, the whole deal. It's coming around, eh? I put the seats in. I just placed them in.
Those are really low.
Yeah, they gotta go up, for sure. These are actually pretty sweet. What do you think of the interior? It looks pretty good, eh? I'll give you a hint. Do you smell it in here?
Oh, there's lots of sand.
Yeah, lots of sand.
Oh, you set something on fire.
Yeah, we really had a fire out here. But I'm fine. So thanks.
Was that last night?
No, it was right now. But it was just the back seat and most of the carpet.
Oh, you burned my detail work.
I also smashed the emblems. Oh no, they're still good. Oh yeah, they didn't break. I should put those on so don't screw up. So that is why everyone should be able, I did this for, you know, shaking hands with danger, right? Everyone needs to make sure you know your surroundings when you're welding. Now, obviously I screwed up, but the way she goes. But, this is why you never go inside right after you weld. Because this thing would have been barbecued instead of just well done. Actually, it's like the brisket we had in Tennessee. You know, a little crusty on the outside, but nice and nuggety on the inside. So thank you very much for watching. And please go ahead and leave a comment below to calm Danielle down.
You burnt my seat.
Okay. First of all, it's a 4-door seat. Don't care about. I think I have spare. And actually, I just threw a bunch of back seats out. Remember I did that?
Yeah.
In the summertime? We'll look for one.
I worked hard on this Gorilla Glued seat.
I think that's what caught fire. It wasn't meant for interior work.
It's not fire grade.
That's crazy. One little 1-inch weld caused all that. But anyways, that's it for now. I'm going to go edit this video and put it out for tomorrow. So we're up to date. And then I'm going to start plumbing the fuel system and getting this thing running. It will run tonight or tomorrow, which will be the next video. So thank you very much for watching. And Danielle appreciates your support. She's cranky. Bye. Oh, come on. They've already seen it. They saw it right on fire. It was actually quite a show. I brought my hand a little bit. Look at my knuckle. It's a little pink.
Poor baby. Poor car.